Welcome to Gamesthetic. As you can tell, I'm not out. So, well, that's not working. So I'm just going to turn it off because I don't know what was happening there. As you can see, Alex isn't here, so it's going to be a train wreck this week. I hope you're ready for this.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I know why I didn't do that now. Okay. That's for next time.
Still don't know what it didn't do.
Just don't worry about it. The few people who are watching will know what happened, and Alex can yell at me later about it. But Alex is on vacation, so
Yeah, he knew what he signed up for.
So as you could tell, I'm here running the main setup, and over Discord I have John with me. How's your week been, John?
It's been an interesting one.
Okay.
It's just a lot of Omega Strikers this past week.
Yeah, Omega Striker's been rough, but yeah, Gamestetic 105. It's gonna be a train wreck. We got a couple things to talk about. Some weekly wrap up stuff. A couple things John and me have played this week, and then hopefully Alex won't yell at us later for this because he knew exactly what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But besides that, we do have our sponsors, of course. We have Agent Inc., which is stuff is coming in together. We should be sending some of that out soon. I know Alex showed off an item over to at the Terrible Football show the other day to the guys there. So stuff's coming out for that soon, coming rolling really real soon. And of course, we got Wayward Beard Company sponsored us. Rogue Energy, which they got their cans coming out with 3 new flavors actually. Tropical Breeze, Cotton Candy, and Strawberry Burst all sound fabulous. I can't wait to be able to find and get some of those. Red Dragon, of course. And then also you can always check us out at SparkE3.com, the website there. You can either sign up for free or $5 $5 a month to get access to podcasts and other stuff early. Thank you very much. Now for the main stuff, we got anything, John?
See, we got anything we want to start off with, or we just kind of want to jump into what we've been doing this week? Because I've mostly spent this week playing a lot of Omega Strikers.
I mean, I've been right there with you.
And that game is man, it's give and take.
It really is.
Some nights were really good, and then the past few nights have been really, really bad.
Well, I think I finally last night figured out where my spot is. I'd probably do best just doing mid range and just helping support the goalie by either slowing stuff down or just redirecting it. Because I had a game last night where I had like 103 redirects.
Oh, that's not bad. That's I've had like 15 round overtimes that people didn't have that many.
Yeah. Because that game gets, for anyone who still hasn't heard us after we talked about it last week, Omega Strikers is a free to play 3v3, more or less air hockey game is how I phrase it.
Yeah. For anybody that's played Battle Right before, it's kind of like Battle Right combat with air hockey. But probably not a lot of people are going to get that one because Battle Right wasn't the biggest game, but
Battle Right died hard.
But yeah, like Zach said, it's 3v3 air hockey, goalie, 2 forwards, essentially, and different characters, different abilities.
Which
actually, yeah, it's just new character coming out on the 6th of October as well.
So next Thursday, we'll have a new character.
But yeah, man, that game really does give and take. It's like I've had one night this week where I think I just like went on a winning streak, went from like just in silver halfway through gold, and then the course of the past 2 nights dropped to
tanked it,
almost out of silver.
Yeah, I don't know what about it because it seems like anytime we try and group it with 3 people, we just get absolutely demolished for whatever reason.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's sometimes I think it's just some of these kids with their faster reaction times than us, Zach. We can't keep up with them right now.
But John, we're only at the peak where you don't have to retire yet.
If this is my peak, it's gone downhill pretty hard.
I did want to throw out there though, because Alex threw it in a general earlier today. PlayStation's came out and of course decided to cry about the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Apparently, Jim Ryan reportedly flew to Brussels last month to voice Sony's concern of the EU regulators about the purchase. So, just a new article about how much Sony is still fighting tooth and nail to keep Microsoft from acquiring Activision Blizzard for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're just still upset that they either didn't have the thought or just knew they couldn't compete with the offer. And they're still just upset about that.
Microsoft threw out that money and just went, yeah, we can pay that again if need be. Yeah, no, that's just still a ridiculous purchase, and gonna be curious to see what actually comes out of it when it finally does fully go through, if it fully goes through, because a lot of people seem to think that the EU regulators aren't gonna pass that shit.
I think it'd be kind of awkward if it didn't go through at this point because, well, like in all of Microsoft's conferences that they've had since like the acquisition was announced that it was going to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Blizzard, it's like all of Activision stuff, all of Blizzard stuff is just like slathered all over the upcoming Game Pass schedule.
I mean, even if it doesn't, they can still do that.
Oh yeah, but it's just one of those where it's like that. It's like that was I feel a large part of it's like, okay, well, we're getting all this. We're just gonna let everybody have it on Game Pass, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess now we're not actually getting all of it, so.
I mean, everything will be on Game Pass eventually, because that's just the model Microsoft's going to take over with. We all are aware of this. It forced Sony to have to do the same thing.
I mean, I got no problem with stuff showing up on Game Pass. More stuff that shows up on there that, like, I can look at and actually test out if it's my style game or not without committing like $70 for a game. I'll take it anytime.
I mean, I will too. I mean, I also love things like one of the few games I've been playing this week. Just came on the Game Pass. Beacon Pines. It's an indie game that's very narrative driven. Really, the best way to put it is it's pretty much a choose your own adventure game. You find like little tokens, which I forget what they're called in the game, and you use them to choose a branching path to find out where that story goes. Heavily narrative, very entertaining. I mean, it's like a 2 gig download, so it's not very big at all. I mean, it took me like 2 sittings to finish it, about 5 hours altogether. So, I mean, it's a nice little just narrative game. I'd like to go more into it, but since it is solely narrative,
yeah,
yes,
it's kind of hard too with some of those shorter like narrative type games because I mean, anything you say about it, it's gotta just almost ruining the experience of someone playing it for the first time.
Yeah, because after playing through all the routes and everything, because whenever you do reach an end, it lets you go back to a previous choice so you don't have to just immediately play through everything again.
Oh, so you don't have to do like multiple playthroughs to get all the different. Oh, that's nice.
Yes, it's a very nice touch. But yeah, once I hit all the endings, I just went, this was very nice. It's a good memory. I can only ever play this vicariously through someone else now.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's like I like everything you've done here, but you have nothing else to offer me.
Yes, exactly, which is sad. And hopefully that indie developer ends up doing something else because I definitely would pick it up and try it after playing Beacon Pines.
Yeah. See, that's one thing. Like, I like when games give you something like that to do, or it's like when it's accessible to do and isn't required to, like, you're not required to go through a bunch of effort to see everything available in the game.
Yeah, no. I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, they do it well. They do a decent pacing and with how you acquire the tokens and whatnot. It sort of does guide you on which path you have to take before finally getting to the last couple endings. So I mean, they do actually have a very good pathing, even with it doing a my choice type game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, uh, like that style game where it's kind of non-intrusive. It's like the game kind of tells you where to go. One of the games in the past couple years that I played that was like that was Force of Nature 2.
Yeah.
It's like I got really into that game. That's much longer of a game just by nature of
hmm
the design of it. Uh, it was the same way for me where it's like playing. It's like going through and actually playing it. It's like to get everything. It's like I didn't go through and get all the achievements because it's like getting all the achievements in the game is kind of just like one of the things is like spend so many days in the game, and it's like, okay, well, I played the game for 70 hours and I'm 40 days in, and I need to be here for 60 more days
Oh
to get this
God.
achievement. Yeah, it's like that. I don't need to 100% this with that. I'm not just gonna leave this running for that to happen.
I mean, I don't know what you're
But
talking about. I did that from you too.
yeah, but it's like it's similar thing of getting everything I wanted to out of that game, or like just about everything it had to offer. It didn't require me to like put in a bunch of extra effort to go do extra stuff or go like you don't gotta go down these weird paths. You don't gotta spend 10 hours working on something just to see one little thing. It was very much like here's kind of the layout of it. Go in this order and you'll get pretty much everything there is to offer.
That's fair.
Which
Um.
I can appreciate when games do that.
So yeah, that's fair. It's just only if that was my type of game. I mean, I could very much see that for just in general because I know my father got really big into Force of Nature as well for a while, and because doesn't that isn't that one that sort of breaks it apart where you can't go through a certain passage till you get progressed so far with your stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
it's
that's
one
what I
where like
thought.
you start off on like kind of like this beach, and then it's like when you're on the beach, the game kind of teaches you about collecting and gathering up resources and stuff. And then it's like as you progress through the different zones, you unlock the different crafting materials to make everything, and then you can't go to the next zone until you clear it out and get the resources required to go through it and all that. So it's a slow, grindy game, but it's a lot of fun.
Also, Alex still tuning in for the Sony crying and stuff. No, Alex, at this point, Sony crying and then Blue Box will be forever the tinfoil hats that we'll wear going forward forever. If Blue Box ever shows back up after the last shenanigans they did.
Nah, they're just gonna disappear down a hole now, never to be heard from again. At least we can hope. I can hope.
I yeah, we'll see about that. Because I mean, just like one of the things that came out was Silent Hill related was a short message that was apparently rated in Korea and some apparent announcement for a game coming at some point. I can only assume, depending on who's working on that Silent Hill, there's going to be a Easter egg of Blue Box somewhere if they want to acknowledge it at all, seeing as they went hard on the whole. It's the next Silent Hill we're making.
Oh, maybe they will. I don't know. I kind of the blue box stuff. I'm tired of hearing it. I had to hear it from you two so much.
I mean, it was a hole we had to jump in, John.
Like you didn't have to. You chose to jump into it, and y'all went deep.
Oh
But I mean, it is what it is sometimes.
well. Oh,
But
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm sort of Blue Box will never die. Yes.
yeah, nah. One of the one of the games I ended up played it a little bit last night, and then spent a decent amount of today playing it. Actually, is the 1.0 release of Grounded came out, and I jumped into it with a buddy of mine, and we've been playing a co-op world together.
hmm
And man, that game, in ways the game makes sense, and in other ways the game is very frustrating.
I don't see
Uh,
how. It's a survival game, isn't it?
it's a survival game, but there's certain aspects of the survivalness of it that annoy me. and it's like one of them, and it all makes sense in the context of the size of your characters and the fact that you're really small, but it irritates the piss out of me.
Why?
One
Because you're Honey I
torches.
Shrunk the Kids?
No, one torches burn out super fast, but it makes sense with how small they are.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like when it gets dark outside, if you're out, like we were trying to be out exploring and trying to like navigate while climbing through like a hedge essentially. So we're climbing up all these branches and everything, and we can't see in front of our feet, so we don't know if we're about to fall to our death or if we're actually walking a clear path. And it's like even if you make a torch, pull it out, you got the torch for about 15 seconds before it burns out. But like I said, it just makes sense because the torch is basically just like a small little twig that you pick up off the ground.
Which, considering the size of the characters, is maybe like a millimeter.
Oh yeah, like there's there's some interesting, or like there's some fun things. Like you'll find a Coke can that's like 10 times your size laying on the ground, or like you'll find a baseball and it looks fucking massive.
Are there,
But
are there Hornets back in
like,
that game again?
what's that?
Hornets?
Uh
Because I knew
I don't know if I've seen hornets. It's like
maybe it was
uh
bees. It was one or the other.
mosquitoes are fucking like mosquitoes are just run on sight right now because they're very fast and they'll chase you to the ends of the earth. But
That,
I sent you a screenshot right before or a little bit before we started, of
yes.
what the arachnophobia slider actually does. It essentially just takes, like, reduces the graphics of the spider, like, to very shitty proportions, takes the legs away, and then so it's basically just the body and a head. So it's just like two weird orbs attached to each other that just run around floating in the air.
I was about to say, instead of being high res, it just takes it all the way back to like mid 90s PC graphics.
Yeah, it's like it in no way looks like a spider. Like I didn't know what a spider looked like until me and my buddy were like both walking through and he called spider, and I called him back over. I'm like, "Are you talking about that thing right there?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, now I know what they look like.
Because I
Now I know what
assume
to
he
run
doesn't
from."
have arachnophobia on.
No, he doesn't have it on. So it's like I have it on, and man, it's sometimes it's worse, I think, especially like at nighttime, because I don't know what the spiders actually look like, but I know what this big giant blob running at me in the dark looks like.
I'm gonna be honest, yeah, that's probably might be a little scary. Just a giant amorphous blob running straight at you from the darkness. At least a spider
Yeah.
makes sense. This blob, no.
Yeah. No, I mean at the base level of it is just like there's kind of like the story to it of like it starts off with a cutscene of just like kids missing from, like, another set of kids missing from this school, and then you just, like, a briefcase falls into the yard from the sky with a parachute on it, and then you pop the briefcase open and come out. That's the start to the game.
Okay.
And
So
then it's like you get out, you start gathering stuff up.
so it's not
And it's
even
like,
the kid you're playing as, it's some other group of kids?
no, the kids we're playing as is the latest group to go missing.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
But yeah, and it's like for upgrades and that, at least as far as we can tell right now. Like you gather materials, and then there's like these little research tents everywhere, and you analyze the material, similar to uh, the system for Raft.
Okay.
If you play that, you know, the first time you get the material, you analyze it at the workbench,
Mm-hmm.
and then it tells you all the recipes and everything associated with it.
Gotcha.
So it's got a system like that to it, and every time you analyze, you get like science points, and that it's like when you fill the science bar up is when essentially when you get your level up to the next, so you can make like more and more advanced tools and stuff.
Y-
Uh, but
Yeah, I know it gets
it,
pretty in deep because Keontae, who we've had on the show once, him and a group of people play the shit out of Grounded to the point that they're
yeah,
waiting for new content.
Yeah, we've not gotten super far into it. Like we've moved our base around a few times. We've been hounded by wolf spiders. They've run us off from a few locations. Because like we can't do anything about them right now.
Yeah.
But it's like there was one point I'm pretty sure we were like essentially walking into a boss lair because it's like we were climbing through these branches and stuff, end up on a frisbee, and then there's just like this webby, like this little cave, but it's just full of webs. And you start walking down it, and like there's ants and stuff, ants, grasshoppers, everything just like webbed into the walls, and it ends in a big open room with a hole in the top.
That's a nope.
And it's like I got in there, and my buddy like is walking around, looks up, he goes, "Yep, there's a hole in there. Not going any further. They're gonna come from the ceiling. Nope, nope, not doing it. Not doing it."
See,
But
from my
yeah, it's
understanding of
like it's. I will say like it's more fun than I thought it would be, just running around in that. Although it's kind of getting to the point where like we actually have to we've got to actually gather stuff up and get like we're at the okay, we've been running around mindlessly for a little while and we have some materials, but now let's go get the materials, get some upgrades so we can actually progress.
I mean, Alex says that the game apparently still sounds like hell to him, but all I gotta say in that is like, you didn't like horror games, and then you started playing the Mortuary. I mean, give it a shot, Alex. Turn on Arachnophobia. You'll be fine.
Yeah, the I will say the thing is like so far like spiders are they're not, at least so far in the game, they're not as like prevalent as I thought they would be. They're not always there. They're all over the place, but we don't have to encounter them if we don't want to right now, for the most part. Because it's like there's only a few that we've encountered where if they see you and they start chasing after you, you're basically dead. Like we can't outrun them, we can't get past them. It's like they'll come hit us, poison us, and then it's like you could try to run away, but it's gonna catch you. But other than that, we've been able. It's like some of them we can fight, some of them we just run from. Most of the time, we just try to run from them.
You think they'd ever
Cause
make a web weaver spider that just shoots webs at you and pulls you in?
I don't know about pulling in, but it's like they shoot webs at you. They'll spit acid at you. It's like, man, everything, most everything is out to kill you.
Okay, fair enough.
But then again, some stuff makes sense. Like ladybugs, you can ladybugs just wander around. They're not gonna hurt you unless you hit them. Which just that's why I say it's like some of the stuff makes sense. Uh, like lightning bugs and that. They just kind of float around at night. They're not gonna do anything unless you run up and hit them.
Can you make
And
them a
then
mount?
like I don't know about mount. I don't know if you can do that. I know that like a bunch of the insects and that if you kill them you can take their heads and mount them to a wall or mount them to a stick and
Not
just
the
stick it
mounting
in
I
the
was
ground.
talking about, but I guess fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I knew it wasn't what you meant, but it's something you could do.
Fair enough, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, at the point we're at, we don't have we haven't made it too far. Like we've just kind of run around the yard exploring, just trying to like find a bunch of new stuff. We're still in the tier 1 like tools and everything. It's like cuz I think with 1.0 they released like tier 3 tools and weapons and stuff. And it's like currently we're still in tier 1. I don't know how you get to tier 2. We don't It's like we don't really know what we're doing. We're just it's like as you play the game, like little objectives will come up like okay, you're at this research tent. Now go try to do this. Oh, you found a lab. Go explore the lab. Okay, now you've done this. So it kind of points you in directions to go, but you're kind of free to go there at your leisure.
Fair enough. I mean, it sounds a lot better than I thought. I might check it out eventually. I'm still not big on survival games, but the plus about it is on Game Pass, console and
Yeah.
PC. So
See, that was the thing. It was like because I knew 1.0 had come out because I got the notification on Steam, and I was like, I tried it before, I didn't, but I tried it playing by myself, and I was like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna play this by myself. But I was like, I'll see if anybody wants to play it and maybe jump into it for a little while. And so far, it's been surprisingly fun. Survival aspects annoy me, but like they can get to me and start to annoy me. But at the same time, we're kind of we've gotten to the point and just have chosen not to use aspects that survival games give you to combat the survival part of it
Mm-hmm.
for like food, water, and that. So like the ability to carry water and stuff with you. We just haven't made any of that stuff, so it's been annoying us that we still have to worry about it. But we've also just chosen not to interact with that stuff yet. So it's one of those where it's like kind of at a certain point you have to embrace the fact that it's a survival game.
Yeah. It's sort of an off-take of a survival game. As I mentioned to you before the show, I picked up an older game again recently of Shadow of War, um, the Lord of the Rings game, because I was
Yeah.
really messing with it, and I don't know why it popped up. It popped up some of the like unique interactions you can have with the Urukai and whatnot. I went, sure, why not? I'll mess with it again. So I've been messing with that on the Nemesis difficulty, which I think there's one difficulty higher than it. And it definitely gives a bit of a different change to the whole thing of it, because the first time around played it I think on like just normal and just more or less murdered everyone and took all the strongholds as I needed. This one has been a lot more interesting in just how the Urukai and ogres have actually been able to kill me more consistently, and just me try and go ahead and get a revenge, and the same one just offs me again, or a few occasional times where one will just like walk off, and I guess that's like a humiliation. I guess the whole thing with that is because they don't find you worthy enough to kill. I was just like,
I
cool, my
guess.
life. But I mean,
Yeah.
that is definitely an interesting diving into the Nemesis system again, learning what the different interactions you can have with characters and whatnot.
Yeah. I was just gonna say for anybody watching that's either hasn't played or was looking for an opportunity to pick up any like Shadow of War or that. Currently on Steam, there's a Warner Brothers sale going on right now where they're fairly cheap. I think the two Lord of the Rings games, I think you can pick up both copies for like $9 right now.
Oh yeah, no, that's super cheap. I mean, and you can get quite a bit of play out of both of those. More war than Mordor, but Mordor's still good.
Let me double check myself real quick because I saw it. Yeah,
Which
yeah.
reminds,
Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, like game of the year editions, basically both of them 1050 on Steam until the 6th.
that's not bad at all. Which that also reminds me, I need to go and play the Back for Blood expansion, Children of the Worm, at some point, because I have it.
I was gonna say you keep forgetting that you actually have these expansions, and then it's always, oh yeah, I need to go do this.
Well, I completely forgot that I bought the. I forget what I don't remember if it was like the Ultimate Edition or whatnot of Back for Blood, because I mean Back for Blood's a real fun game and everything. I just went hard on the purchase for it. Forgot that it came with the annual pass. So anytime that comes out, of like, all right, I have that.
That's one of those weird games where like the beta or something came out for it, and like I went pretty hard on the beta.
Mm-hmm.
I played the beta quite a bit, and like me and a few other of my friends were like, we it was one of those games that like you play and you're having a lot of fun with, and you're excited for the game to come out, and then the game comes out, but you feel like you played the game.
Yeah.
And it's like I know there's a lot more to it than what we played, but it was one of those where that feeling was just there, and we didn't. It was hard to go back to.
It's like Fantasy Star Online. We never purchased a subscription for that game. Demo for life.
Oh yeah, yeah. Play the same demo for the same 10-minute demo for 30 hours.
Yes, exactly. But I mean,
Yeah.
sort of brings up a thing because, like, I think I mentioned
How
last week, demos are sort of coming back, in which I find interesting. Did you ever go and mess with that Wulong game?
Dude, I fucking suck at that game.
Oh, did you mess with it?
I fucking suck. That game pissed me off. I don't know what it is. I think
Souls games.
those Souls type games, like, I want to have the patience for them, but one, I got patience when it comes to certain aspects of some games. Like some games, I could sit there and I could do grindy shit all day long. Like if I like the environment of the game or if I like the atmosphere of the game or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
I can do that shit all day long with no issue. But you keep killing if the same two goddamn enemies keep killing me over and over and over again, and it's like I'm I'm the stubborn type where I'm gonna do the same thing over and over again, even though it doesn't work. And
See,
I don't know if I was overestimating my skill, overestimating like anything about myself, but man, I suck at that game.
see, I
It was
actually sort of
pissing
like
me
that
off.
for a Souls game. Mostly, I just because it felt faster paced to me versus, I mean, the last Souls games I played was Dark Souls 3. So, I mean, there may be
Yeah,
other Souls games that are faster paced now too, but
I don't know if it was just the fact that like because when you start the demo, you pick between like one of several classes,
yeah,
as far and that basically just determines what your starting magic is.
yes.
Like starting magic and weapons basically. And I don't know if like because I played the one that like debuffs enemies and
Yeah, that's
is
what
like
I went
damage
with.
over time stuff. I love the idea of that, and in general, that's what I would like to play in most scenarios. Is kind of like I'm either gonna play the bursty character or the like debuff like drain over time character kind of. Those are my two go-tos.
Yeah, that was sort of my thing. I went the Metal Mage as well and everything. Also feel like that game for me would have been a lot more fun because it does allow for multiplayer with up to two other people in the same instance.
Yeah, I was playing that and I meant to go back to it at some point, but like I played it for like 30 minutes, got like nowhere in the demo.
That's rough.
Like I made it like nowhere.
I mean, I eventually made it to new zones and everything. Took me a little bit. Took a lot of making me reconsider of going the assassin route because for single play I was just backstabbing a lot of people.
Yeah, like I mean I had the route to the enemies that kept killing me. I was everybody on that path was slaughtered. Like nothing happened to me. But then the same two enemies just kept killing me. And I don't know. I think my problem with games like that, like some of those action combats, while I really enjoy them when it's like heavy counter focused and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
I forget that in the moment because I kind of get into my own rhythm, and then I forget, especially when there's multiple enemies, I forget to follow what everyone else is doing.
Which is
So like
ideal for a Souls game.
yeah, which is like I'm fine most of the time when it's like one enemy there. I got nothing, but when there's like three of them, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna die here.
You probably would have very much disliked the boss though, trying to learn that pattern.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if it's like I was struggling because I was struggling to get the overall like gameplay of it down of like how the combat worked because I very quickly like got through like the enemies that I was just kill me because it's a Souls game and you're gonna die against the first few enemies you fight as you learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was happening to me a fair amount. Plus, I don't play Souls games, so it's like I died a few times at the beginning. I was like, okay, now I've got this down. Then I'm running further into the level, and I'm like, okay, well, let's try this. And then I just die, and I'm like, okay, well, let's try it again. Okay, well that didn't work that time, but I got closer. I said, okay, let's try it again. And then like 10 times later, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm just getting, now I'm getting frustrated, and I'm not following what the combat the game tried to teach me. I'm just beating my head into a wall.
Oh, that's rough. That really is.
But I mean, it's one of those where it's like I knew what my problem was, and I just refused to change it.
Yeah, I'll be curious when the game actually comes out. I may take a glance at it for full release because it did also that demo starts you at like level 10, so I assume that's past the initial intro and stuff, and maybe right at the past the beginning stuff, maybe leading in towards uh, mid game, but I could be wrong. So I would very much see how that game starts and everything. See if I feel any different about it.
It's one of those two where it's like if the start of the it's like playing at the start of the game. It could, I mean, that could entirely change my outlook on it. I at this point I'm gonna say I'm firmly in the I don't think I'll play it, but sometimes I surprise myself with what I buy. Uh, Especially because playing that game co-op might like completely change my attitude on it. But playing it from the beginning, where it's like that that might give me more of an incentive to play it or like want to try it. Because like demo stuff, sometimes demos are really like really good at drawing me in particular, and then sometimes the demo doesn't appeal to me, and then when I play the game later, I'm like, okay, well this is what I was wanting. I don't know what about the demo didn't get it to me.
Yeah, I got you. I am sort of looking at some of the things because I was curious when Wulong was coming out, and I just started looking at a list of October game releases.
Uh, on the note of like demos and stuff, I did try after last week. I did go out and try the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 beta.
Oh, how was that?
I didn't try it for very long, but because I mean it's Call of Duty. I mean
I mean, yeah, you know what you're getting.
it's Call of Duty. I jumped into it. I was like, let's see if it's what I expect it to be. I I mean play a few rounds of it. Uh, like I hopped in. I mean my first game in. It's like I don't know the map. I'm just basically W keying in. Uh, like with not paying attention to anything, just charging in, and didn't. It's like my team didn't win the game, but I top fragged, so I call that a moral victory.
Hey, there you go. Apparently, Alex put a lot of time into it than he thought he would. I don't know what that consists of. Like, we talking like over 20 hours?
Oh, I would say no,
I mean, probably
as
not, but
as far as that goes. Uh, Nah, like I said, I didn't play a lot of it. I played a few rounds of it just to be like, is it COD? Yeah, it's COD.
all right.
So I mean, I didn't get or like dive super deep into it. I wasn't worrying about like trying to level up and get all kind of crazy with it. I was like, let's just jump in and see if it's COD. Yeah, it's COD.
I mean, sort of put it on there. I mean, it comes out on the 28th of this month, sort of finishing out of notable games for October. I mean, we get another release of Resident Evil Village Gold Edition. Finally, get after all these years Bayonetta 3 at the end of the month. We also get our fabulous that we've been talking about Gotham Knights. What are we going to play that on?
I would assume Xbox.
Okay. Because it's either PC or Xbox for me. If y'all two decide to shun me and play it on y'all's PS5s.
I mean, Alex asked me that a while ago when we were talking about it. He was like, "What do you think? What are you probably gonna get Gotham Knights on?" I was like, "Probably my Series S." It's like I'll probably just get it for it.
Oh, Alex apparently already pre-ordered it for Xbox, so
Loser. Oh, speaking of pre-ordering, I got my order in for the God of War Ragnarok uh DualSense.
oh, nice. Just one?
What's up? What's that?
Just one?
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to buy.
I don't doubt it because anything God of
Like
War is immediately like
the
botting.
like it became available in the U.S. and within like what felt like 10 seconds, Target was sold out,
Damn.
and then like the PlayStation Store, like it just I was it's like I was trying to buy it, but like the store was not send. I guess so. Like it may have just had a bunch of people trying to buy it, but the store just kept having errors on trying to purchase it. But eventually it went through.
Apparently, you were more dedicated than Alex because he apparently didn't get his because he gave up.
Yeah, no, I got it. The funny thing was he did the same thing he did when I got when he told me about the PS5, where he sent me the message like of the tweet saying it was available,
Mm-hmm.
but I was already logged in trying to buy one. I was on it that day. I woke up checking to I woke up checking to see if it was available yet.
Here's an interesting one that's coming out mid this month is Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. It's an asymmetrical game. 4 people make new you make a new Ghostbuster and 4 people play as Ghostbusters and 1 person plays as the ghost. I assume to either haunt them or kill them.
I don't know. I feel like people Dead by Daylight kind of nailed the 4v1 kind of aspect to games,
Yeah.
and I feel like other games in the past few years have been like, well, that game seems to be doing well. People really enjoy that. Let's do our take on it. And I feel like even though like I'm not a Dead by Daylight player, like I played it when it like before it first came out during the beta with you guys, and that was enough for
Yeah.
me. That was enough for me. But it's like I understand the appeal of it, and it's one of those where I feel like a lot of people are trying to, in a sense, emulate that success,
I mean, yeah.
or like emulate the same formula that like Dead by Daylight has.
Yeah, Day by
Where
Daylight definitely hit the asymmetrical gameplay peak. I mean, because that was during the when pretty much everyone was coming out with an asymmetrical game, and it has sort of died off pretty heavily since then. A couple years back. I mean, we still get a couple here and there. They're fairly entertaining. Some people are still trying to mess with that formula, see if they can do something new with it. But I mean, it's Ghostbusters, man. It could
yeah,
be very entertaining. Because I mean,
I mean I'm not. It could be entertaining. I mean it'll it'll probably be entertaining the same way Dragon Ball Breakers is entertaining, or will be entertaining. Where people are gonna play it. It's like people will play it because it's Ghostbusters, and people will play Breakers because it's Dragon Ball.
people play Dragon Ball Breakers just to go beat the shit out of the villain. Because I've yet to see a game where people actually escape. It's usually either the villain kills everybody, or the G, the player's Z fighter form and beat the shit out of the villain.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those where it's like you don't know how long that game's gonna last them, because that's the same formula that ended up happening with Friday the 13th.
I mean, Friday the 13th still
Where
has a community, surprisingly.
yeah, I know, but like when it came out, it was very much like there was like a solid week of like Jason running rampant, killing everyone, and then the next week it was just nothing but like videos of people just like making basically just being like, we're gonna kill you, and we're gonna torture you while we do it.
I mean, it was very much that flex of everyone just playing as Jason and just murdering people because Jason was broken, and then people realizing how broken Jason was and figuring out, well, we can glitch this and we can just murder him. Because I remember playing quite a bit of Friday the 13th that like first couple months it came out, and just ended up in a lobby with a bunch of people who were actually fairly good at the game, and somebody somebody being mean who was playing with us and whatnot. They rolled Jason, and instead of going, okay, I'm gonna play Jason, they apparently had someone sitting there with them who had never played and just handed them the controller and a lobby full of
Yeah,
people who knew how to fight against Jason.
yeah, might as well. They knew what was gonna happen to him.
Yeah, exactly, because it was just a bunch of teenage counselors just
Yeah,
beating the hell out of
yeah.
Jason.
Like I don't know how that game is now, but that's like that was a game that very much went from being, oh shit, there's Jason, run away, to, hey, look, it's Jason, let's go bully him.
Pretty much, yes, and it was very entertaining either
And
way.
it was one of those where it's like that turned around so fast.
Yeah, because Jason ended up getting buffed again eventually. Uh, well, I don't got anything else. You think we should hit these weekly wrap up things?
Yeah. Let's get into it.
All right. So first up, which honestly should be major news, but none of us really care about Overwatch 2 all that much, but
Oh,
Overwatch 2 drama fun stuff. So apparently, for new player experience, you have to play.
oh God.
Oh shit! Here he comes.
How you doing, boys? How we going?
Oh
How's it
God.
going?
He's just been waiting for this the whole.
He has apparently. Like
He's
it's
been sitting there going, "Fucking talk about
As soon as-
Overwatch already."
As soon as I heard Zach say, "All right, so we hit the route," I'm like, "All right, it's time. It's
oh
time."
man.
We should have waited to do Overwatch last.
We should. I should have started with something else. Oh.
What's up, boys? How we doing?
What's up? Vacation Alex joining us for the end of this. So, more or less, what's going on here is apparently for new players with Overwatch 2, you're going to have to play 100 matches to unlock the beginning champions from Overwatch 1. So, it's more or less just going to be a progression thing of as you win matches, you'll unlock characters until you hit 100. But that's just for the initial roster from when Overwatch originally released. For any characters that came out after the initial release, you have to play more games. Because other champions, such as Echo, apparently it's looking you're going to need like 150, in which Echo was towards the end of that roster list. So,
Yeah.
so what? Maybe like 5 to 8 games per champion. I'm thinking. I would have to.
That seems to be about the average from what I saw from PC gamers. That it's going to be like about 3 to 4 games, and they're basically going to obviously start you off with lower, skill based champions. Like to start off like so many from support, damage, and tank.
Yeah.
They do throw you some more skill heavy champions, at least in my opinion, and some other people's opinions, to play them properly. Because like right off the bat, you unlock Genji very quickly, but Genji's a popular hero, so that makes
Yes.
sense. But to play Genji very, very well, that is a pretty high skill gap, at least in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
you really need to know what you're doing with Genji to actually be a good Genji. Yeah, you can kind of milk it until you get your ult and then get a lot of kills that way. But if you want to be a good Genji, you can do everything without your ult. So I don't know. It's kind of fascinating the way they're doing it.
The real question is, will I be able to just hit him with my wallet for whoever I want?
No,
I don't believe so.
If
No.
if you're a new player and you have no experience from Overwatch 1 transferring over, no, you cannot, which is part of the problem, I
Well,
feel like.
But if I had Overwatch 1 and I played it years ago, then can I hit him with my wallet?
No, because you're good.
Yes.
Because if you have Overwatch 1 experience, and you actually carry your account over, it carries over and you automatically have all those characters unlocked.
Oh, well that's
So the only
That's-
thing you can hit them with
so
your wallet,
So all they're punishing is people that are trying the game for the first time.
correct.
Yes, correct. They're trying to play it off as they're using it from like new player feedback from Overwatch, where like players came in and just felt like super overwhelmed because there's just so many options, and that's what they're trying to play it off as. Which I don't know. I think that's kind of crap in my opinion. I think this whole new first player experience approach is kind of garbage. But
I mean,
you know,
Um,
at least
I can-
the point is the bottom line: game's free to play, so that's at least
I
one
mean,
plus.
I can understand not wanting to release like the whole roster like right away from people being like, okay, well there's too many characters to pick from, I don't know who to play. But don't it's like by the time they get done unlocking characters after playing 100 matches, I mean hell, half the new players, like half the people that'll be coming into it that never played Overwatch 1, they're not gonna play 100 matches.
probably not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, granted, I mean, here's the big question. For unlocking characters, is it like a preset character like list that you unlock?
Yes, it's like it's
Oh,
kind of like a battle pass almost. It's because, like I said, you get Genji like very early on, for example.
so yeah,
Because
you
like the way that they're
can't even
unlocked is
play
like
like
lower skill base.
so if it's like say it's like five, I'm just estimating 5 to 8 games or something to unlock a character.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't even get to you don't even get to pick the character on the roster that you would want to play. Oh man, that's
Correct.
brutal. 'Cause
Correct.
I mean, hell, anytime granted I don't play a lot of Overwatch, but anytime I play one of these like games where it's like champions in some way, whether it be a MOBA, a shooter, or something like that, the first thing I do is go look at the roster and find the character that like I'll look through and find the character I get, and I'm like, that's the first character I'm buying. Or if given the option, that's the first character I'm playing.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So not having that option, like if I would have to play 100 matches and then still potentially, or like 100 matches to get the character I wanted, say, I'm not gonna play the 100 matches. I'm just gonna choose
Yeah.
not to.
Exactly. Because like PC, like PC gamers who it was, they had a chance to like start a new profile and play through it, and they stress that the grind is just as bad as it seems. Which honestly, yeah, I could 100% see. Because like I mean that's kind of the downside too. Because like, whenever I approach like these hero shooters or MOBAs or whatever, I'm the same way. Like I'll find a character that I think looks really cool, and I'll be like, okay, when I get the chance, I'm buying that character. So like if you're in this situation and let's say you like Anna. I don't know where Anna would be on there. I feel like Anna would probably be on the higher end of things, you know,
She
because
would
she is
be.
like kind of a skill based healer. Let's say it's like you're naturally a support player in games. And you see Anna, oh yeah, Anna looks cool, but then you're gonna have to play 80 matches to get Anna. It's like fuck that, man. I'm not doing that. That's stupid.
Yeah. By the time you get to that point, it's like one, you'll have either just learned to like a different character more than you would enjoy that character, or you're gonna get there and by the time you get to play who you want to play, you're not gonna care, or you're just not gonna make it there to begin with.
Yep.
See, an interesting thing about this that I think they could do from a game that RIP, Battleborn. One thing that they did interesting was with their character roster, you couldn't purchase them, but the thing they did was you either unlocked a character once you hit a certain profile rank, or if you completed a certain challenge for that character. So if there was a specific character you wanted, you could farm that challenge, and once you've beat that challenge, you were good. They were unlocked. Go. So I mean, that might be an interesting thing they could look at. Maybe adding challenges for characters. I doubt they would. Or seeing as it is a free to play game, later on down the line, depending on the backlash from this or whatever controversy from it, they might
I had
add a
to,
money way.
man, I had to look that up because I was like, that sounds familiar. You're bringing up Battleborn?
Fuck yeah, I loved Battleborn. I played that until it died.
I played it a
Great
little bit.
Battleborn.
I didn't play it like near as much as you did, but I played it a little bit. Like I mean, it was a fun game.
It was a fun game. It came out the same time as Overwatch originally released, and that's
Yeah.
sort of what killed it. It got overshadowed hard just because people were comparing the characters and whatnot. They were actually very much two different games, but just with how they were advertised and promoted, they were more or less put against each other, and Overwatch just murdered it.
Yeah. One had the wallet behind it and one didn't.
Yep.
But I mean, overall, I mean, the whole having to play 100 games to unlock all the initial roster, then more, that's very much going to be a grind for people who are like, Overwatch is going to be my game because I can't afford anything else and it's free to play.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea is good if they were to just reduce the number of games, like maybe 50 games or less. Like I feel like the idea could work.
Yeah, that'd
it
be much
don't.
more doable.
Yeah, if you're gonna have like a system where okay, we want them to play and unlock the characters at a slower rate or something, it's like yeah, even if you cut it in half or it's like even a third, then it's like to the point where win or loss, whatever, every other game, say you're unlocking a character, or every third game you're unlocking a character. It's like that would give someone like a new player maybe the incentive to actually or to like go into it a little bit more because then you're gonna get that feeling of you're progressing in some way at least. It's like okay, well I got this character, maybe I'll give them a shot now. Play them for a couple games. They're not what you wanted to play or you're not feeling it, by the time you understand that, a new character is unlocked. Whereas if you got to play, even if it's just minimum 5 games, well, what if like in the first 10 or 15 characters or something, you don't find one that you identify with or one that you enjoy playing? And
Exactly.
it's like, are you gonna just keep playing the game, hoping that the next character is gonna do it, or are you just gonna go, I guess this isn't the game for me?
I mean,
It's funny because like Blizzard thinks this new approach is going to help bring in a wider audience. This is going to help kill a wider
it
audience.
really is.
All you're doing is bringing over your audience from Overwatch 1. You're not getting an Overwatch 2 audience. I'm sorry, you're not, Blizzard.
because that's very much a dedicated grind, especially with what PC gamers saying at this point in time, unless they change it in between now from that chance in here in like a couple of days, because it starts on Monday, right? October 3rd.
Tuesday. The game will launch on Tuesday. Overwatch 1 ends on Monday.
Right, because there's a 24 gap of no Overwatch, right?
Yeah, where the world will be at peace.
I was gonna say then, because the other thing that was on here that kind of just blows me away in a sense is the fact that you have to not play but win 50 games before you can play competitive.
Right?
Because if you go,
I've never
like,
seen that.
it's like I understand like most games that have a competitive and a casual sense will make you play a certain extent before you can play competitive. For League, it's level 30. For other games, it's like level 5, level 10 profile level. Where it's like, okay, well, it's like you've played enough casual games to where you understand how the game is supposed to be played, is usually what determines when you get to go to competitive. At least it's the way that it feels. It's like, okay, when you've hit this point, you can play competitive because you should understand at the base level how the game is played. Whereas this is like if you go on if you have an unlucky streak, granted it would be a really unlucky streak, you could play 200 games before you could play competitive.
Yeah.
Sure.
But let's not forget the other thing that's really throwing people for a loop here is that for you to be able to play, you have to have a phone number associated with your Blizzard.net account, but it can't just be a go buy phone. It has to have a plan service attached to it. So you have to be paying a monthly payment on your phone attached to your BlizzardNet.com.net account to be able to access Overwatch 2.
It's just weird to me.
I mean, I guess it's one way to have a free to play game, like a free to play FPS game, to try to avoid cheaters.
It is definitely a unique take.
Now I understand the prepaid thing. That makes perfect sense to me. Just the phone thing in general doesn't make sense to me though.
Well, the other thing is like if you don't have some way to tie an account back to like a source, because the other thing is like a lot of the free to play games, especially FPS, end up being run rampant with cheaters. But if the game only requires an email address to sign up,
Yes.
which without a phone number or something, that's all it is. It's an email address, and it's like the time it takes you to generate an email address and create an account is
20 seconds.
Yeah, it's like you could have a new account created with a new email address in under 2 minutes and be back into it on a new account.
That's fair. That's fair.
So it's like I understand I understand it. I guess I haven't really seen it done this way before. But I mean it makes sense, but I don't know.
It's definitely an interesting take. I mean, it is an interesting thing, but I don't think it's going to be a big thing just because a large portion of people have some sort of paid service. So I think
it's gonna end up like there's gonna be the few stories that come out of people that either don't have a service plan or like don't have a phone or something that want to play that end up just causing a ruckus for it when the game actually comes out.
But I mean, overall, I'm not going to play it. How about y'all?
I'll get talked into playing it a few matches.
I'm still gonna play it. Like, this is stupid. It sucks for trying to bring in a new audience because it won't, in my opinion. Like I said, the only thing they're gonna successfully do is bring over the Overwatch 1 audience. They're not creating a new Overwatch 2 audience, which that sucks. But hey, I played Overwatch 1, so I'm good. So I mean, I'm gonna play it. I've been looking forward to the game. The new features to the game, new modes and stuff looks fun. New champions look fun. So I'm looking forward to it. But there are some obvious problems. But
like, I'll end up getting talked into playing it a little bit, and I'll probably get frustrated with it and quit playing it.
That's probably accurate. Yeah.
Oh, didn't mean to do that. Oh well.
Yeah.
But Speaking of something that's dying, Stadia! It's dead!
Took long enough.
Okay. Speaking of this, I read an article like right before I got into Discord with you, Zach.
Okay.
Of there is one guy that this article was about who has like almost 6,000 hours in Red Dead Redemption on Stadia.
Oof.
That's
So
impressive.
when it
Fucking
shuts
oof.
down, he's losing it.
So there's no way for him
It's
to.
like, and he's
That's
trying to
horrible.
appeal to Rockstar to like give him a one-time transfer because he's like, you guys told me that I'd be able to play it here, and then now it's being shut down. What am I supposed to do? He's like, I've got
Right.
almost 6,000 hours invested into this. It's like,
I'm assuming this is obviously a lot of it focusing on Red Dead Online is why he wants an account
I'm pretty
transfer.
sure it's like, yeah, it's like,
Okay.
because I think the article said like he had made a comment saying he didn't really play the single player aspect, or he played it, but then focused heavily on like the multiplayer aspect of it.
Gotcha. I mean that definitely hurts. Rip
Poor
to
guy.
his multiplayer career. Hopefully Rockstar.
He just picked the wrong side of history with where to play.
Yeah. It's one of those where, because I mean, they tried to with Stadia, they tried to really sell it. I never bought it.
I
And
don't.
I think most people didn't buy it, which is why it's shutting down now. But it's like there's got to be a few more instances of someone like just buying into it and being like, I guess this is the way games are going to be played in the future. And then
Never.
not too long later, well shit, I'm about to lose all my progress.
That's rough. I mean, if you join Stadia, I'm sorry. You've been shucked.
Shout out to Play On for being a good sport though. At least their social media person.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that I posted?
I saw that. What was your
Yeah,
favorite
yeah,
moment of Stadia?
It was a quote tweet, John, of them responding to their own tweet literally the day before they announced like the Hot Wheels game going to Stadia, and then the next day the Stadia was announced to be dead, so they quote tweeted back. It's just like, well, never mind. So at least they're a good sport about it. Yeah, at least the social media person is.
I mean, but something else that should be dead, but it's slowly getting there. Skull and Bones. It's been delayed to March.
Dude,
Anybody surprised by this based on
no.
the like what they showed us previously?
Not really, no.
I mean,
This game's a joke.
At this point they have to release it, but
They do because of
they
the
have
amount
to
of money
release
they
it.
borrow.
But it's like, it's one of those ones where I get that you have to release it, but I wish you wouldn't.
Yeah, it's really rough.
I wish you would just be quiet about it and no one would ever speak of it again.
Oh, that's not true. That one country's going to be speaking high about it because they borrowed so much money from them.
Yes.
I don't remember the country. Do you guys know the country off the top of your heads? It was in a recent article. Okay. But like Ubisoft like borrowed so much money from that country that like they are now held at gunpoint. Like, you're releasing this fucking game. Do you hear me? Like, you are not about to cancel this shit show. I don't care how many times you've reboot this thing. It's coming out. Like, and we're just gonna have to watch it. It's already a burning ship that's coming off the port, and we're just gonna come out and just watch it sink immediately.
Pretty much, because it's not looking good.
Yeah, the ship's already on fire at the port. It didn't even get a chance to take off.
Because it's not even free to play. You had to buy this shit.
Yeah.
That's also the dumbest decision.
At this point, you might as well just make it free to play.
Babylon's Fall too.
Babylon's Fall just was dead coming into it.
Yeah, it looked like shit. Plus, it had the price point. If that would have been free to play, I think it would have had a slight chance of survival. But
you know what was another interesting price point this week? Skyrim coming out again, Anniversary Edition on Switch for $70. Who the hell would pay $70 for Skyrim at this point?
I know, and like
everyone will.
And like that got quietly taken down too. I got taken down quick. Like it was like 24 hours after Backlash, and then they decided to change their minds on that. But they tried to be sneaky about it. They tried to be sneaky where it's just like, oh man, a $70 price tag. Is it finally here on Nintendo? Is it time? Is this it? They fallen in Sony's footsteps?
Nope. At least not successfully.
And if there was any game they were going to do it for, like, why would Nintendo allow that to pass for fucking Skyrim?
Because it's the
Like,
one game
Because
that
it's
keeps
Skyrim.
selling.
I know, but still, like,
It's Skyrim, GTA 5,
try it on one of your own games,
and then
Just,
Resident
like,
Evil
get
4.
people to buy it.
Those
They
three
can
games
put
will
any
never
other
die.
Nintendo games at $70 and people will still buy it.
I mean, I bet they will. I mean, they've slightly already done it with the the Nintendo Plus Pass or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I mean, people will buy Nintendo stuff. They could sell their old I mean, they do. They sell their old Nintendo games for
Buku's
still
amount of
the
money.
same fucking price. Think of all the amount of Wii U games that got just ported to Switch and they sold it for the same exact price and people bought it fucking again.
I mean, I can pull one of Alex's GameCube games over there that's priced higher than standard price that people pay for.
Bingo.
Well, that's the thing too, is people will buy it. People will buy the physical copies there, and they'll also buy the digital copy when it goes on the fucking Nintendo store, and they'll pay just as much for it.
Exactly.
I mean, I did that with that Mario 3D All Stars. To be fair, the case that's behind Zach is still sealed.
Yes.
I bought it digitally to play.
I mean, hell, this past week I found the first Pikmin, and I paid $54 for that fucker. I'm getting Pikmin 4, damn it.
Yeah, we know you're
It's
getting
coming.
Pikmin 4.
Finally, it was announced in 2015, but finally got confirmed that it's happening.
For a series I have never played. I've been rooting for Pikmin, and I've never played a single minute of Pikmin. Most I've played was I've literally never played a minute of Pikmin. Most I've played.
This is news to me.
The most
I
I've
thought
ever.
You were actually a fan.
No, the most I've ever played of Omar is in Smash. That's it. I've never played a Pikmin game.
Yeah, I could have put money on that.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna be real.
I pushed it solely because it was Pikmin.
I honestly thought you were a fan. I thought you played the first two games. I thought you played the third one.
No.
Wow, my whole world got turned upside down. I'm not gonna lie.
Solely pushed it because it's Pikmin.
Well, in other news, we haven't spoke about it much recently, but a few months back, I was hammering this every week. Vampire Survivors is going into its 1.0 on October 20th, and I mean, like I said back then, I mean it's a very simple game, very simple concept to it, but man, is it one of the best deals you're ever gonna get.
I'll be honest, it showed up on the script and I went, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Put that in for John specifically. Yeah, I saw that come out. I'm like, I gotta throw that in.
It's one of those. I mean, it's a bullet hell type game basically, or it's marketed as a reverse bullet hell basically, where it's like you're creating all the projectiles and everything as monsters try to kill you. But I mean, it's just a good concept. It works. It's a lot of fun. It's like it is not something that you're gonna be it's like rounds aren't gonna last forever. It's like maximum time limit in that game. Pretty much everybody knows by now it's 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes it's like 30 minutes of it is basically each round if you make it to the end.
I mean, $4, why not? If you got if you got a $5 in your pocket, just throw it out there. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll regret your choices later.
It's a solid game. I mean, multiple little like kind of recreations of it came out. It's like they were all kinds of phone versions of it. I think there's been several like variations of it made. Like people just copying the formula of it. It's just solid. Especially for the price point.
I mean, for the price point, yeah, it's really nice. You got your nice release, but now we got to talk about a game that's been being slowly saved by an anime and an update and time to try and fix its shit, which is Cyberpunk. Apparently now having 20 million copies sold, which is ridiculous after all that it was during its release. But hey, we've made it. It's reached 20 million copies sold, and it has reached 134,000 concurrent players on Steam. What the fuck happened? What happened?
The game they went silent for they went silent for a year and just slowly released patches over and over again and hot fixes that people kept making fun of because they didn't fix everything that they wanted to in one patch, and then just over time got it to a state that people were happy with. And then Edge Runners came out and everybody is all pumped up on Cyberpunk now.
No
Yep.
Man's Sky and Cyberpunk has shown that if you have enough money to keep throwing into it, you will eventually succeed.
And there's enough determination, really.
Yeah. Because if you don't have a development team worth a damn, it's still not going to save it.
Yeah. No, I love to see it, man. Cyberpunk's always been a good game. It was just a broken game.
Yeah, it's I think I've said it a couple times now. I'm gearing up for another playthrough on it. I'm trying to finish up the games I'm in the middle of right now, and then I'm gonna probably jump into it and see how it is now. See
Love
what
to hear
all
it.
extra stuff they've added to it.
I think you'll enjoy it.
I mean, I enjoyed it the first time.
There you go.
I don't know if I'll ever go back. Maybe one day. But CD Projekt Red has gained back some of their credit. So now I'll only see how that DLC is going to come out and what CD Projekt Red will go back into the burner for 12 years with. What a legacy that would be for a studio, never releasing game every 12 years.
All right.
Hey, if the game's good
Next
enough
up,
and can
Witcher.
last long enough, you don't have to.
Yeah. Next up's Witcher 4. God knows when that's coming out.
I mean, at the same time, Valve releases a third game in a
True.
series. So here's some fun facts. So Disney apparently wants 2 Star Wars games released a year now that EA isn't the primary contract, and they can outsource Star Wars to whomever.
We're gonna get a bunch of shitty Star Wars.
We're gonna get a bunch of
That's
shit.
my mindset.
We're gonna
That's
get a
my
bunch of.
when is too many? When is too many?
We're gonna get a bunch of shitty, like weird
Yep.
Star Wars skinned games.
I mean, they're having a hell of a time just getting out the current Star Wars games we know about. Why?
That's true. Especially Eclipse with everything going on at Quantic Dream.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're gonna get oversaturated, but we'll probably get some interesting, depending from some studios we either recognize or don't know. We'll probably get a couple interesting games out of it. It just becomes a thing of when do we become tired of Star Wars stuff?
Exactly. Like when is it just gonna get burnt out on it? I think pretty quick.
I mean, part of the problem with like Star Wars games that we know about coming out is the fact that it's like developers and everybody gets so excited by the fact they got a Star Wars game that 5 years in advance they just go, "Hey, we just got approved to make a Star Wars game," and then we hear nothing about it, and then it's just like, okay, we're running into all the news is negative. It's like, oh, we're running into some trouble. It's gonna go on hold. It's gonna be a while. It's like, man, what happened to just be like, yeah, we're working on something. We'll show you when it's ready, and then like 2 years later, it's like, okay, well here's what we're working on, and here's a working version of it, or here's a trailer that shows you what the game is. Instead of what we get these days, which is they tell everyone, hey, we're gonna make a Star Wars game, and then 2 years later they go, okay, here's the name of the Star Wars game, and then 2 years later they go, well, here's a title card for it. Please give us more money so we can afford to make this game.
Yep.
It's like it takes every iteration of these like big games now. They take 10 years to make. And then it's like they get nothing but bad press for a long time because all we hear
Mhm.
about is development problems because it was announced way before it should
Way
have been.
too early. Yeah, Eclipse and now of course Knights of the Republic remake being 2 prime examples.
Yep.
It's like they get, like I said, they just get so excited that it's happening that they start going off about it. It's like, dude, you probably should have kept that under wraps for 2 years.
I
Yeah,
mean,
chill out,
Get
chill out.
like get a base to work with and then say it.
unfortunately, not everyone
Yeah.
can be Bethesda and just throw out a title screen for Elder Scrolls 6 and then re-release their previous game to bankroll it the entire time.
Exactly. Not everyone has that privilege.
I was gonna say, I mean, just think back to like God of War 2018. everybody knew it was gonna happen eventually. We just didn't know when.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that E3 announcement. It's like it's like if lights go off, it comes on straight into a playable demo made specifically for E3, and it's like, okay, now we know they actually have something, and we know what it's gonna look like. Now it's like we're sated until it comes out. It's like, I don't know. I kind of miss when game announcements were made and you knew, okay, the game's probably gonna be out in like 2 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Where now
Even
it's
though
like,
there are those certain announcements that get me really excited, like Mass Effect and Wolverine being two, it's like it's like initial knee jerk hype, but then it's like, all right, well, I'm not gonna see this game again
oh
for like
yeah,
3 or 4 years.
it's frustrating these days when it's like, oh hey, they announced this game. I guess we'll see it in 6 years.
Exactly.
It's like I kind of miss the days of, oh, the game's announced. Oh, the game's actually coming out this year, or the game's coming out at the end of the year. Holy shit, where did that come from?
I mean, that's why people just go to Nintendo Directs. They keep it small. They only tell us
Yeah.
about things that are coming out with like the next two.
It's like, say what you will about Nintendo. We everybody memes on Nintendo for doing Nintendo things, but Nintendo sets dates and Nintendo knows what they're doing.
They keep it consistent.
Yes.
Maybe
They
they
don't
With
announce.
with two rare exceptions, of course, being Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3. Other than that, they've hit
Yeah.
everything as they said. Well, Advance Wars, that was obviously a very special
Yeah.
situation.
Or it's like,
But besides that, if they say they're going to do something, it's going to happen.
and it's like, if it is gonna be pushed back, then they tell you months in advance, and then they set a new date because they did that in their last direct.
and
I
not the
forget what
month
Yep.
game
of.
it was, but it's like they tell you, it's like, we need a little bit more time. It's still coming out this year. It'll just be the end of the year, and
Yep.
then it never gets pushed twice.
Yep. And
It's
because of what happened with Prime 4 and Bayonetta, Nintendo obviously has gotten very good at finishing things well in advance and just backpocketing it, like we saw with Fire Emblem Engage. We've
Yeah.
known that's been done, and it's been done for a while, and we just got the reveal for it, so that's come out within 6 months. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm here for it.
It's like, yeah, I mean, basically everything I was complaining about with announcing things too soon, like, especially with the Star Wars crap. Because that stuff, it's like, it seems like every game show we have, or like every conference we have, someone's saying, oh, we're making a Star Wars game. And it's like, the announcement is, we're making the game, and the next year it literally is, what's the update on the game? Here's the name. It's like, okay,
Exactly.
why are you here? Whereas, at least on Nintendo's side of it, when a direct happens, you know you're either getting an update about the, like, if it's specific to a game, you know you're getting an update about what the contents of the game are, or the contents of the game and a release date. You're getting one of the two.
And
It's never just like nothing.
And who knows? We may be lucky. We may be with the Disney enforcers getting involved in putting in those whips and lashes from developers. Maybe they'll do something. They'll end up getting a system like Nintendo where they can consistently at least produce all right games and give people the
Yeah.
fix that do
Well,
want that.
the other thing is, yeah, since they can give it to anybody now, it's like, hopefully they choose developers. It's like they make sure to pick developers who are specific to, or like really good at making their type of game, so that we can at least get some variation in these games.
Koei
Yeah.
Tecmo.
Like whatever they do best at, just
I
slap a Star Wars skin on
like
it.
I swear to God, if we get like 9 different action adventure Star Wars games, I'm gonna fucking hate Star Wars.
Give me Koei Tecmo. Throw Koei Tecmo in there. I'll be happy with it.
That would, it's like
That'd be cool.
it's like that would make sense.
That'd be really cool. I'm here for that one.
It's like, that would be something that makes sense. A Jedi storming onto a battlefield and wreaking
Yep.
havoc. Fuck yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
That
That's
speaks
awesome.
nothing but Japanese.
Let's do it. Sounds cool.
How do you make Star Wars better?
There you go. Put Koei Tecmo on it.
Subtitle it.
Yep.
I don't know, but yeah, it's like, my hope is, like I said, hopefully we get different developers on it that are good at making different variations of it. Because, like I said, I don't want 9 of the same Star Wars games. Don't give me 2 of the same Star Wars game every year. It's like we don't need that. If you're gonna be pumping them out, at least get some variety in here.
Maybe we'll get Battlefront 3.
That'd be a spicy one to touch after what happened.
Yeah, it would be, but it'd be
Say what
very
you will
entertaining.
about it's like say everything about like Battlefront and all that. Gameplay is fun. Like the gameplay is just solid. It's like the gameplay is just straight fun. It's like I jumped into it a few months back and played it for a few weeks. It's just enjoyable.
What?
There's some
2042?
2.
Oh, Battlefront 2.
What?
Okay.
Battlefront 2. No, yeah, no, Battlefront 2. It's like jumping into Battlefront 2. Played it for a couple weeks. It's just fun. It's a solid game. It just had a bunch of shitty stuff around it.
I mean, it did, but they got rid of
It's
it.
like, yeah, it's like they got rid of all that stuff, and now you can go into it and just have fun.
I mean, same thing happened with Shadow of War. They added a bunch of shitty microtransactions for acquiring Uruks and stuff, and people were not okay with that. But and I mentioned Silent Hill earlier in the show. We got a short message rated in Korea, and can only expect an announcement at some point about a new Silent Hill game.
No, they're not making a Silent Hill.
I mean, I paid $150 for the original Silent Hill, complete in box, so I'm okay. I'm good. I just now need to find one.
I don't know why you gotta hit me with your wallet like that.
Says the guy who was asking to slap Overwatch 2 with his wallet to unlock characters.
It's a question people would legitimately have.
Fair point.
I mean, it is.
It's like when a free-to-play game is available, it's like the first question is, what can I do with my wallet?
Okay, here's an interesting YouTube update. It just sent me a trailer for Untitled Game with the subtext, "The Bird That Drinks Tears."
Back you and your random updates.
It gives me articles in Japanese. I don't know what to tell my phone.
Yeah, your phone just gives you the most random shit.
But I mean, I'd be okay with a new Silent Hill game. It's been a while since we've had one. Last taste of Silent Hill we got was PT, and that died with the whole Kojima incident in Konami, so.
Which is really unfortunate.
We still ended up with Ritas Fetus, so.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'd be down for a new Silent Hill game. Stop giving me all these Fatal Frame remakes. Just make a new Fatal Frame. But, I mean, y'all guys got anything else?
I'm looking.
Good show, boys.
I'm looking for something real quick.
I know you wanted this dumpster fire, Alex. Now I'm gonna.
I wanted to tune in for the weekly wrap up. I like the weekly wrap up. It's fun.
Now I'm gonna spend 20
Are you
minutes.
Are you gonna do the show next week? Or you guys taking a break?
We haven't decided.
We'll figure it out.
Do whatever. I don't care. Do whatever.
We'll find out.
We're still 1 week ahead. We're still 1 week ahead on our schedule.
We'll find out whether I throw up a tag or not sometime this week.
Okay, so I'll change the Twitter name to Maybe Live on next Saturday, the 8th.
But so what you got, John? You said you were looking for something?
Yeah. Bring back just because I saw this earlier in the week, and it's still in the last week. I'll bring back a segment. Weekly Lost Ark update.
You know, I meant to ask you about that because they released fucking Machinist.
Good talking to you, boys.
I don't play it really anymore, but it did have something interesting happen. So the new class. Yes. See, Alex. Nah, the update for Machinist came out. It looks to have come out this last week on the 27th of November. Or not September, sorry, not November.
Yeah, I saw that. I meant to ask you about that, but it completely slipped my mind with all this stuff. But yeah, but you haven't messed with it or anything at this point?
No, it's one of those. It's like it's one of the classes I wanted to play, but I've fallen out of Lost Ark for a while, and
it would probably take a bit to get back to gear level.
It's like it would take more than this to want to bring me back. Because while this is a class I wanted to play, it's not the class I wanted to play the most, and there's still no clue of when the one I was most excited for would come out. So, but yeah, looks like the Machinist came out, as as well as a new Legion raid. So anybody that's still playing Lost Ark, or anybody that is interested in it, that looks like it has come out in this past week. So a little late on that for anybody playing, but anybody not playing that just hasn't heard an update on it in a while, there we go.
You know what else is also still updating?
What's that?
New World.
Yeah.
They had their first anniversary event.
It's stabilized the player base.
Yes, it did.
It's stabilized. It looks to be around in like the low to mid 30,000 players. So.
And that's not bad. Probably some couple servers have been shut down at this point.
Yeah, it's like people have probably been merged at this point into just a few servers to pick from. So I don't know how the community aspect of that game is at this point, but I mean, it's got an active player base still, and seems to be a pretty much committed player base for where they're at.
I was about to say, if I ever felt like it again and really wanted to smack my head against a wall, I did enjoy its crafting system.
I mean, I enjoyed New World for what it was. I mean, I fell off at the point that I feel like 60% of the people fell off at. The other 40% probably fell off earlier, which is like in the mid 40s, where it's kind of a grind to get there, and then from there it's tedious.
Yeah.
But I mean, for what it was, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, but I don't know, not enough to continue with it, which seems to be a pretty big trend.
Yeah.
I like it. It's like I'll fall in love with a game for like 100 hours and then never touched again, or I may fall in love with a game for 10 hours and praise it nonstop and then never touch it again and have no reason, and not know why.
Looking at you, Omega Strikers.
Oh no, I did it with Ghost of Tsushima. I played about 15 hours of Ghost of Tsushima and absolutely loved it, and then just stopped and never went back to it, and I don't know why.
R.I.P.
I'll probably play it again at some point. We're kind of encroaching in on the time. I'm about to have to start God of War playthrough to have a recent memory of it before
of what's going on.
Out.
Yeah. I mean, you got like a month or so you still got time.
Yeah. It's like I'll probably start a playthrough of it here in a week or two to give me plenty of time to slowly play through it, enjoy it again right before Ragnarok comes out.
Just like I still got time, I still got to find Pikmin 3 to finish the set. Then, whenever they give an actual announced date, maybe I'll play through the trilogy.
You got plenty of time to play through those.
Well, if you got nothing else, John, I think it's about time we wrapped up.
Yeah, that's about all I got.
Let's see if I can figure out this music, because I think I figured out what was wrong earlier.
Oh, that's what you messed up.
Ha-ha! I got it. So, ending the show, I'm going to say like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever your platform allows. It does help. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button to join this channel. You can also go check the Gamesthetic YouTube and hit subscribe there, so we can actually use that channel besides just ghost uploads. Please help us. As well as you can check out any of our sponsors, Rogue, Red Dragon, Agent Inc., as we get that up and going. Wayward Beard Company. I know I'm missing someone, and I'm sorry. No, I didn't. I did hit everyone. Cool. Yay. I didn't forget anyone. Yay. And you can also check our own website there at www.SparkE3.com. Join that. $5 a month to get you early access stuff. And I think that's all the plugs and whatnot. What you got, John?
Yep. Do everything he said and more. And if you made it to the end of the episode with us, as much as we kind of jumped all over the place, we kind of kept in a straight line for the most part. We just took a few detours here. But yeah, if you made it to the end, thank you very much for that. And hopefully you'll be around the next time, whether it be next week, which we come up if we decide to do it then, or
whenever Alex gets back
after that. Yeah. It's like we'll be here at about 6 o'clock on a Saturday at some point.
All right, sounds good. Thank you again, everyone. And whenever you're watching this, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.